a few weeks ago, I found these inductive headphones. So these are the Aeropex inductive headphones. So they don't cover your ear, they just sit on the front. And I was thinking about, well, what can I do for headphones when I'm riding that it won't matter if it does fall off or if I lose them. And also just because, when you're riding or exercising, you get hot ears and, that's not the best for the Apple AirPods. And I was a little skeptical about these particular headphones because, as you can see, it's just sort of pressing on the front of your head in front of your ear. But I thought, well, let's give it a go because I want to be able to listen to music or a podcast while I'm riding. So I did plenty of Googling, and the couple of things I couldn't find an answer for were, what did they sound like? So there was lots of reviews, but no one really actually explained what they sounded like and what were some of the downsides or problems. So I'll give you kind of two definite answers to that. So for me, at least, the sound of these is very similar to if I just rest the AirPods right on the outside of my ear, or just sort of hold them on the outside of my ear. And as best I can describe it, it's like if you've got an air gap between the AirPods and your ear, so it's not sealed properly. It gives you a less bass kind of sound, and the perception of the sound for me is almost like there's a stereo speaker sort of sitting behind my head, which is a kind of odd sensation, to be honest. But importantly, it does mean when I'm riding, I can hear the sound of the wheels on the trail. I can hear the sound of the gears. I can hear all the things going on around me. And so it's much more, I think, much more safe, but also it makes it easier to understand, how the bike riding is going because I'm not blocking out all the sound, and stops my ears getting hot and all that kind of stuff too, which is much more comfortable. Okay, so sound quality, I've got quite used to it. In terms of phone calls, it doesn't seem like it's quite as good a clarity for the microphone, so the person who you're talking to it doesn't deal with background noise as well. So it's fine if it's in a quiet room, but trying to talk to someone while riding or just with background noise just doesn't seem to be a very good experience for the person who's on the call. But I didn't really buy them to use them for making calls, but I've had them on and made calls in the car or just sitting at a desk, and that's not been a problem. It would be nice if they had the sensor in them, so when you take them off, it would stop playing audio, but it doesn't. So you just have to, press pause or play or whatever. The on-off function works fine. The volume control on the back here is, I don't know if you can see that. It's pretty usable. You can adjust that while you're moving. All right, so that's kind of the sound aspect to it. And yeah, I've listened to all sorts of different podcasts, music, whatever, and it's a little bit of, the sound's a bit different, but you get used to it pretty quickly. So I was kind of curious as to how, before I got them, whether I would be comfortable wearing them. And certainly the pressure on that part of my head was different to before. So that did take a little bit of getting used to, just having that there. And I still would probably not want to wear them for more than a few hours straight because it's sort of like wearing sunglasses that are maybe a little too tight, and eventually it just sort of feels like it presses in. So the other part of it was that when I first wore them, I couldn't wear them for very long, maybe 5 or 10 minutes, because it started to kind of almost it's almost like getting a little bit of a, sort of like out of balance. So if you'd sort of spun around a couple of times and thrown your balance out, that's sort of what it felt like. So, and it took me probably 3 days of just sporadic little bits of exposure to get my brain used to the feeling of having the Aeropex on. But now, I don't actually notice it. So it's sort of, I guess it takes a little bit of time just to train your brain to accept the audio that way, which is kind of cool. But I could see how if you didn't want to persist with them, you could kind of give up on it after those first few days. But definitely, like, I think the trick is a little bit of exposure for over, say, a week, just to train up your mind, your brain to be happy to accept the sound that way. But yeah, so that's probably, those are the kind of questions I had, which I couldn't really find an answer to. I'm really liking them. I paid for these. They are not sponsored. If you want to send me some, feel free. But yeah, so this was totally just a purchase, and for whatever reason, they don't seem like a lot of people have used them or done any videos on them, except for the people who maybe have been sponsored or given them, and they didn't really have much to say about the sound or the sort of side effects or downsides, which I thought was interesting. So, and it seems they sync pretty nicely with the iPhone. I assume it'd be same with Android or whatever. So yeah, hopefully, if you're thinking about buying them, hopefully that helps answer maybe a few of the questions if you had similar concerns or worries that I had before buying them, because it's a pretty substantial purchase. Okay, bye.